Hey everybody, my name is Paul Eston Jr., aka Boyd Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to our YouTube series. This is called Meet the Fleet. We are going to be introducing you guys to a variety of insiders across college football to learn about each and every single one of the New York Jets draft selections. And the next one up on the docket is Breece Hall, the running back out of Iowa State. And to learn more about him, we're bringing in Jared Stansbury. He is the managing editor for Cyclone Fanatic. And let's bring him in. Jared, what's popping, baby?
Not a whole lot, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, and I'm going to be honest, Jared, I claim to be some sort of digital reporter, this made up title of covering the team. But I'm going to be honest, when Breece Hall was the pick, and of course they traded up with the New York Giants to make it happen, I was stunned. Multiple Jets people were kind of shocked because they felt like they had a pretty good one in Michael Carter, but the Jets apparently were not satisfied here. Were you stunned that Breece Hall ended up being the first running back off the board here in the 2022 NFL draft?
I definitely wasn't surprised to see him be the first running back off the board. I didn't really know where he was going to go because I thought that he, had a couple of pretty good fits, right there along the back half of the first round and then into the early part of the second. But I was not surprised at all to see him be the first running back taken though, because I thought he was the best running back on the board.
And wow, when I read some of these stats, I mean, they just kind of stunned me. 11 school records, 338 points. He has the record with 56 total touchdowns, rushing touchdowns 50, 24 straight games with a touchdown. I mean, I don't even know if the Jets have done that, quite frankly. And so, I mean, like, what makes Breece Hall so special? What makes him so unique? Was he a recruit that Iowa State people thought was fantastic, and then he just lived up to the billing of being fantastic? What's the story there?
Man, so I think the thing that makes him so impressive is, he's one of those kids that from the day that he came on campus to the day that he left, he was the exact same,
Mm.
and that's like what makes him so cool as a kid. And I think that's what makes a lot of people that are, Iowa State fans are really drawn to him for that reason, just because, uh, you know, he's just a good kid, and he's a really good leader. And he's somebody that I think you can see that the people in the locker room really look towards as a recruit when he was coming to Iowa State. I mean, the reason that he, ended up at Iowa State, despite, he was a 4-star recruit, but he didn't play varsity high school football until he was a junior. So, you got to work your way up. But then he runs. Iowa State got on him in his junior season after I think he ran for 2,000 yards in back-to-back years at Wichita Northwest. And Iowa State got in there right around the end of his junior season. So they were one of the first schools to get on him as far as recruiting. But, he ended up having Oklahoma and a whole bunch of other schools that came after him late. And he stuck with Iowa State because they were the first ones to come after him, And so he got on campus as an early enrollee. I think everybody had high expectations, but they just weren't quite sure how it was all going to shake out and how quickly he could be able to crack into that rotation. And, it took about 6 games. Iowa State went on the road to play West Virginia. And he comes out and has 150 yards and scores a couple touchdowns, and all of a sudden the kid had arrived, and it was pretty hard for teams to keep him out of the end zone from there, man. And I don't know, he's so patient as a runner. He does a really great job of sitting behind the line and waiting for a hole to develop and then being able to make people miss. And he can really see the field and see cutback lanes. I think the last run that he had against Texas, where he cut all the way back across the field, is probably one that a lot of people have seen. He had one really good one in 2020 against West Virginia. He's just a special player. And once he gets out into that open space, he's someone that is capable of taking it all the way every single time that he touches the football. So
That is something that the Jets brought up in their post-draft meeting. Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas both said they wanted a quote-unquote home run hitter, a guy that could go 80 to the house, because Robert Saleh explained that, it's hard for offenses to consistently, methodically move down the field with these 8+, 10+ play drives to be able to get down there. So he 100% has that ability. The thing that Joe Douglas said on the Michael Kay show, that he can score from anywhere on the field. That's not just hyperbole. That's just not nonsense talk. That's 100% true, Jared?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think, there's so many examples that I could throw out there. I think back to when Iowa State played Kansas State on the road this past season. And on the very first play of the game, they give the ball to Breece. And I think Kansas State had maybe misaligned or something like that. But he makes one guy miss and he gets that corner. and I mean, the crowd went from, and I wrote a story about this at the time, and he said, the crowd was so loud when they got out on the field, but the second that he saw the hole, everybody went silent because they knew. I mean, right away, you knew that he was going to score,
Yeah.
and that was the kind of player that he was. And that's every time that he touched the football, you hold your breath a little bit because you know that he can do something crazy that you haven't ever seen before. And,
Wow.
there's only been a couple of those kids that I have, and that's not, I don't know. Like, obviously, we've all seen really great running backs, but I
Sure.
think just for people that are college football fans, especially ones that are in the stadium or something watching somebody play, like, I think that's one of my favorite things about college football is just getting to watch these kids and see, especially see them live covering college football, where you get to just see different kids and then kind of look forward to these things. And those are the things that make me so confident in what Breece can do. I think when you have those guys, sometimes you see those guys that's just like, you can't imagine that guy not being a good NFL player,
Which
Yeah.
sounds good for Jet fans, by the way,
Yeah.
because we've
Yeah.
had a lot of swings and misses, over the length of time. Let me ask you this: the old school days of north south running, just that having that just the exclusive part of your game are over. You have to be a complete back. Can he catch a ball to the backfield? Can he pass protect, or does he have the full complement to him? In your opinion?
Yeah. I mean, I think if there's something that people said that he could probably grow in, it's probably the pass protection. Iowa State did use a third down back at times who would come in and do some of those things, but it was also a kid who was in the same class as Breece that you just want to get on the field in
Sure.
opportunities. And obviously, Breece carried the ball 30 times a game, so it's like if we can get him out of the game for pass protection situations, then maybe we can. But he's very good at catching the football, and I think one play that sticks out in my mind. He made a one-handed catch against Oklahoma down the sidelines where he's falling backwards, and it's, I mean, an unbelievable catch. And he's just, yeah, he can do things like that. You could throw him the ball in space, and like I said, he's just so good at making people miss that he's going to give himself an opportunity. So I would be, Iowa State didn't really have the personnel to use him a lot in like the screen game and things like that, but that's something that I think he could be very successful at in the next level if the Jets have the guys to do that well.
Again, we're speaking with Jared Stansbury here. He is a managing editor for Cyclone Fanatic. And guys, make sure you support the channel, like the video right now, and hit subscribe and give Jared Stansbury a follow for future Iowa State. We're going to develop a pipeline here, Jared. We're going to get Iowa State, booyah! We're going to get more of those to the Jets, especially if they are half as good as we believe that Breece Hall is going to be here. And some more history here. The Breece Hall, when the Jets traded up and took him in the 36th overall pick, he became the highest drafted Jets running back in 32 years. The last highest drafted was Blair Thomas, who that didn't go as well, but he was the number 2 overall pick back in the 1990 NFL draft back then. So there are massive expectations here. And Jared, they're only the flames are only being kind of poked and prodded here because Desmond Howard and Keyshawn Johnson both predicted that old Breece Hall here is going to be the offensive rookie of the year. And by the way, for folks who are wondering about that one, that's never happened in Jets history before. They've had several defensive rookies win the award. Never has an offensive rookie won it. Does he have that capability? Does he have the talent? Does he have the prerequisite? Obviously, you got to get a lot of stats to make that even possible. Could you envision that? Are you jumping on the Keyshawn bandwagon? Are you jumping on the Desmond Howard bandwagon for potentially Breece Hall offensive rookie of the year?
Yeah, so I mean, I actually threw that out. I think I was on. I don't even remember what I was on. I threw that out the other day. I saw that it was plus 700 for him to win to win that award, and I was like, man, that feels like good value. The thing I don't know, I'll just be honest. I'll admit my ignorance on this. I don't know anything about the Jets' offensive line, so you
Yeah.
would have to tell me. And obviously, to be a really good running back and to put up numbers, you kind of have to have people to block for you. So that would be my only
I will
thing.
say this to jump in, Jared. They have the best one they've had in a decade now with the construction they put.
Okay.
So again, health will be important, but it's the
Yeah.
best one they've had in a long time.
So yeah, I think that he's the kind of guy who can go right in and compete right away, which is obviously so important about that award, and you have to be able to go in and make an impact basically from day one. And I think that he has the talent to do that. And I think he's got the demeanor and he's definitely smart enough to come in and pick up the things. Uh, but yeah, like I said, there's a lot of other things in football, unfortunately, that have to go your way sometimes for those awards, especially when you're a running back, I think.
Yeah, and really, I started as soon as I heard Desmond say it. Apparently, Jared Stansbury say it too. Is that as I was kind of going through the process, I said, "Oh, let's look at the last batch from since 2008 on." And mostly, the award either goes to a quarterback or wide receiver. There's a few
Mhm.
select examples, Saquon Barkley among a few others that have been able to do it. But it takes a unique combination. To your point, and now that I look at the rest of the landscape, the other rookies that could be up for the award, there's no superstar quarterback who would easily, a Joe Burrow, whoever could
Yeah,
get it. The only one is Kenny Pickett, and who knows if he is even going to be the starter. So it looks
right.
like if you really squint, it looks like there is a legitimate path if the offensive line is as good as we think it is, and Breece Hall is as good as everyone says, that it's legit and could be a good value apparently in the betting world.
I can't even imagine what the defensive side is going to be like with all of the guys that went on defense in that first
Right.
round. I mean, that it is crazy. Like, yeah, that's like I guess I didn't even really think about that. There was what, 6 receivers that went in the first round and then
Yep.
a bunch of offensive linemen and
Yeah.
maybe one tight end or something. I don't even know.
No,
Like,
not even a tight end. That didn't go
yeah,
till the second, deep in the second. It was somewhere in the 50s with the Cardinals when they took Trey McBride.
man, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I think that he would have a great opportunity. Yeah, I don't know if you just look at all the different things that go into it.
The other thing that stood out to me was a low fumble rate. It's according to the analytics, it's basically once every 200 offensive touches for Breece Hall in terms of the fumble stuff. So he holds on to the biscuit.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He's really good at that, the ball protection, and I mean I think he maybe only fumbled 3 times at Iowa State.
Wow.
I don't know. I would have to double check that. It wasn't
Sure.
very many, and the ones that he did have were pretty memorable. So I don't know. Yeah, that he did very good. He does very well with that. So that shouldn't be a concern.
Jared, what's the ceiling here? Because Jet fans are going absolutely bonkers right now when they're hearing people, which again, this is unique territory. When Keyshawn Johnson, all these people are going on and saying offensive rookie of the year Jets, that doesn't happen. So the fact that this is happening, I think a lot of us are somewhat numb to understanding the full complement of this. So give it to us straight, Jared. You're our Breece Hall numero uno expert, insider, scoop guy. You got to tell us what is the realistic ceiling for Breece Hall at the NFL level?
Man, I hate to like I'm not a big player comparison guy or anything
Yeah,
like
right.
that. I'm just not very good at making those things, but I mean, I think he's a guy who can be your number 1 running back in the NFL for, you know, however many years you need him to,
Mm.
and I'm not gonna sit here and say like, "Oh, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer," or something like that. Like, that would be
You can
crazy,
feel free to
but
say that if you'd like,
yeah,
Jared. I
I
would
think
appreciate that.
I
Yeah.
think he will be a Pro Bowler,
Okay.
like, I think he's a guy that at some point in his career, he'll be able to make at least 1 Pro Bowler or make 1 Pro Bowl and, like, be a guy who can be in contention to, win some awards and things like that, be an All Pro or something like that, but there's so many other variables that go into that stuff, like I said, but I think he'll be a very, very good player in the NFL for a long time.
What stands out to you? Is there, and obviously you've covered him for Cyclone Fanatic for his entire career. Like, what do you believe is a story or something that you covered that really stands out? Just tells Jet fans who this guy is really about, because that's what this entire series is. A lot of these for Jet fans, and I would say most NFL fans, if this is happening across other fan bases, they have no idea who these guys are when they're drafted. Then all of a sudden, the Google and Bing searches start. Let me find out about this guy. What can you tell us? A story either wrote or some nugget from his career that stands out really tells Jet fans who this guy is.
Yeah, so I think, man, I think one really good one would be after he scored the touchdown against TCU in his last game at Iowa State, uh, when, um when he got done, he took a knee and then he ran to the sidelines, gave Matt Campbell a big hug, and then he ran and gave the ball to his mom. And I thought
Oh,
that was one of those really cool moments that you know, that will probably be really memorable. I would think from when his career is like done and he's looking back and thinking about great memories that he had from all of his football career, I would imagine that would be right up there at the very top. Uh, man, I can't. I thought the one at Kansas State too. Like I said, he scored on the first play of the game, and then he's from Kansas, from Wichita. So then obviously had that connection with Kansas State and just wanting to play well back in his home state. And talked after the game about what it meant to him to be from Kansas and like be from Wichita and to come back and play and be a good role model for kids and stuff. And I thought that was one of those really cool things as well. So man, he's just he is one of the guys that I think I enjoyed being around more than I've been doing this for almost 10 years now.
yeah.
And so you get to meet a lot of kids, and he's one of the ones that I think that was as fun to just get to watch play football, and then see that they're just as good of a kid as they are a football player. And
See,
so, yeah.
See, that's that nugget I definitely want to get to is because, we always talk about football, X's and O's, this award, that award, this. How is he as a human being, a person? Do you know anything about him that could kind of shed some light on that side of him as a human?
I think he just had a good mom, man. I think he had a good mom, a good support system, a good family, and uh, he just is very respectful to people, and he just is a good kid. I don't know even how the best way to put it, but I think you guys will get opportunities to listen to him talk and things like that, and he's very humble, but at the same time, he's going to keep it straight with people. And I think when he was going through the draft process, he would he'd say he thought he was the best running back in the draft, and that's just. I mean, I don't know. To him, I think that that's a fact. So it's not cocky. It's just like that's a thing, and he's just one of those kids. I think people will really enjoy getting to watch and get to know.
That was my favorite story. He was on some draft show. I don't know what it was. And he said, "Hey, I just want you guys to know I'm a top 2 running back and I'm not number 2." I
Mhm.
just thought that was awesome. I love the confidence. Again, you need it we're getting it obviously with Ahmad Sauce Gardner, who is oozing all of that. But I mean, that's what you have to make it at this level to have obviously a belief, an inner belief in yourself that you can accomplish anything and everything you want to. But that's one story. That's one little nugget that stood out to me when I saw him.
Yeah, and it's funny, his coaches would always laugh at him because he still has braces. So,
Yeah, I saw that.
he'd
What's
always
what's up
be.
with that?
I don't know. No one
Oh,
really ever even asked him about it that I
oh,
can remember. I don't know. I don't know why. I just think that was a weird thing to ask in the moment, But
yeah, right, right.
and he also had that whole 1 year where he was on Zoom all the time with COVID and everything.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so it was a little bit different for us. But no, they would always joke that he's the only guy to ever break all those school records that he had at Iowa State with braces too. So yeah, he's just a funny kid.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Jared, this is awesome. This is exactly what we were looking for to learn a little bit more about him. And another nugget I just saw, I forgot to mention this during the interview. He's got a lot of athletic prowess in his blood. I see his stepfather, Jeff Smith, was an NFLer. His cousin is, I don't know if you've heard the name, Roger Craig, 3-time Super Bowl champion, of course, for the 49ers. So, maybe it's not that surprising that this is the path ultimately he chose with all that in his background. Forgot to even mention that as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And then yeah, that was part of his recruitment. Obviously Jeff Smith and Roger Craig both played at Nebraska. So
Right.
that was, a lot of the conversation with them recruiting him. So no, he's a good kid, and I think Jet fans are gonna be really pleased with getting to watch him play football.
All right, Jared, I'll present one last opportunity. Maybe we've already covered everything, but is there anything else that we missed on Breece Hall, whether it's football wise, whether it's person wise, whether it's anything, quite frankly, for Jet fans that they need to know with this series about Breece Hall as he's becoming a professional, getting paid millions of dollars to be this superstar that everyone thinks he can be.
I can't think of anything, man. Honestly, I think we've hit it all. But like I said, I think Jet fans are really going to enjoy him, and hopefully, he helps you guys win lots of football games.
All right, we can only hope. Jared, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on with us here. And Breece Hall, again, a surprising pick, maybe the most surprising of the entire Jets draft class, but one I think a lot of people are happy with and satisfied with. So thanks for carving out the time, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, man.